scenario, the need to buy equipment required to support operations has disappeared. Storage, hardware, servers, and networking components, including the big expenses concerning their maintenance and periodic update, are now the service provider's problem, with the client paying only for what they require and when they require the same. This means that the service provider becomes an extremely important partner whose professionalism, technical acumen, and ability for innovation are crucial. So says my guest, Satish Garikipati. Satish Garikipati is Director Product Marketing at Shaw, a market leader in providing subscription management solutions to global customers. Satish has over 16 years experience in the IT industry. He's a subscription management specialist with demonstrable cloud domain expertise. He's functional in terms of rolling out the product for various delivery platforms, right from conventional video to emerging cloud. He leverages his demonstrable subscription domain expertise and deep techno-functional experience to offer consultative solutions to several industry leaders. Satish is a technology graduate and has been a speaker at several technology fora across the world. Welcome, Satish, to the show. Satish, there's a paradigm shift in the consumption of infrastructure in pattern and practice, where businesses have moved to the pay-as-you-go model. What does this really entail?
See, most of the things now are becoming more of a commodity model, right? Now, earlier we used to farm something and then get the food for ourselves. Similarly, now we are actually just going to a fast food center and then getting our food ready, eat and come back in a 5 minutes time. Similar kind of a paradigm shift is also there in terms of utilizing the infrastructure. Earlier, most of the enterprises used to have their own data centers, setting up their own servers, and then finally having a huge depreciation in terms of infrastructure, and finally revamping the whole thing when there is a new processor come up or some kind of a new requirement on the storage, etc. To address all those pain areas and making sure that the whole infrastructure part is done in a very nicer way, IaaS is introduced, has come up in a very efficient way, and it is catering to a lot of corporates in terms of reducing their capex, and it's a very structured and streamlined OpEx model. That OpEx model is introduced. The good part is most of these corporates, they can simply rely on a service provider who can provide the infrastructure on pay-as-you-go model, which is a real paradigm shift in the infrastructure realm. Now, big enterprise even can go for a big, decent size IaaS provider, and then opt for some X number of servers, which are called the virtualization server or virtual servers, where they can ask for some X code processors and some sort of terabytes of storage and some kind of gigabytes of RAM. But while going for it, they can also say that we'll start with some level 1 and then we can go up to level 5. So whatever the levels they move up, and then they can pay for the whole usage, not for the entire level 5. So this gave an option for the enterprises to go for a real pay-as-you-go infrastructure model, one. And the second thing for the service providers, the advantage is whatever the infrastructure that they are setting up for their target customers, they can also use it to the peak level and then make better revenues. So this paradigm shift really gave a real win-win situation for the end customers like corporates and enterprises, and also for a service provider like could be Rackspace, just to name, or a joint kind of IaaS providers, because they are kind of leaders in this market. They showed the path, how it can be set up.
Satish, with every new paradigm shift in the market, there are new challenges that emerge. In some cases, these challenges can be a cakewalk. In some cases, these can be a thorny path. In this case, is it a cakewalk or a thorny path?
It's a very good question. See, in generic, whenever we see a new paradigm altogether, yeah, sometimes it could be very smooth, sometimes it could be a road with a lot of thorns and ups and downs kind of a thing. And I would say this IaaS as a paradigm shift is a mixed bag. few things are very smooth in terms of the end customers or the enterprises getting the service, infrastructure as a service, especially by reducing a great capex, moving into opex is a real good result. However, the service providers have been facing certain problems. The first and foremost challenge is the technical challenge. The technical challenge also has two dimensions. The one dimension is how do I make sure one physical server can be converted into multiple virtual servers? The pure technical challenge. Luckily, that is addressed by VMware and Citrix kind of service providers in a very smooth and efficient way. However, the next biggest challenge, which is more of a softer challenge, where the customers accepting the fact that till now I own my server, I can see my server, but now I can't see my server. Is it really there? Can I use it properly? What if someone is hacking? So those kind of challenges are being faced by the service provider, along with providing the service on time. I would say it's a real time, because now if you really compare this with a commodity model, the moment I walk into a super bazaar, I can actually pay and then buy, or I can buy and then use my credit card and then come out of it with the item, right? So when even the infrastructure part is commoditized, the end customer's mindset is, I want the X size of server, whether it's virtual or a physical server. I'm ready to pay some Y dollars. Can I get it in the next 5 minutes? So that being a biggest challenge for the service providers to make sure meeting the customer expectation. At the same time, making sure that it is in a very secure environment, no one will really hamper it, and you can use it as you go. So these are being a combination of softer challenges and real technical challenges. Some are being addressed very nicely, some have to be addressed as we go on, and as we progress addressing one challenge, it may pose another challenge. And the cycle is going on pretty nice, and we see more and more enterprises adapting to this. As you can see the trend, the growth on the IaaS is almost phenomenal. I would say it's 46% year on year, which is not a simple thing. So that means there is a kind of resistance, but adoption is also very good. So let's see how other challenges are in the whole life cycle.
So the entire industry is talking about customer delight. Customers have to be happy at the end of the day, even if it is all topsy-turvy for the service provider. How do you really address this challenge?
Yes, it's another good question. See, anytime when there is a life cycle, the first challenge is early adoption. I think that early adoption challenge is almost addressed, and most of the enterprises, they are actually seeing the value of this IaaS. But yeah, how do we make sure, as a service provider, how do we make sure that the end customer is really delighted, right? The first point is to make sure when customer requires, be there and then provide the service. That's the biggest challenge that the service providers are facing. Though technically they are equipped, sometimes the customer requirements are so complex in nature, because no two corporates operate in an identical or similar way, right? So it's a little tricky for the service providers to really bundle the services with the different combinations and slices, and then provide the service when customer really needs it. So the customers are not having the patience to wait for some time after they pay. So the moment I pay, I want the service. Is the mindset currently customers are having? See, that we cannot question the customer, because customer is God, and we are there to provide services to the customers. So the first and foremost challenge is to make sure that provide services on time with all possible bundling of the services and delivering it time. So for all these, the biggest issue here is the SLA. Every service provider has to come with some kind of a service level agreement. Let us say if you pay now for what you want, the service or the infrastructure is ready in next 5 minutes. Saying that in 5 minutes is pretty simple, but making it happen is a big challenge. For all these service providers should definitely have a great service fulfillment solutions in place, or robust, I would say, more than great, it should be robust, enough in understanding the customers' requests, those are coming from portals, and then finally taking care and then delivering. While delivering, making sure the infrastructure which is available in the back office is also optimized to a greater extent. So it's a combination of what the service provider has, what he is offering, what customer is expecting, am I providing at the right time. So there are multiple steps involved in it, and as I said earlier, technically all things are ready, but it's all about making the other infrastructure, which is the portals, payment gateways, and the connections to the payment gateways. Once the money is realized, start providing the service at the right time. So this is the first and foremost challenge for most of the service providers, to make their customers really delighted.
Satish, it's a well-known fact that resources are not in abundance. Customers are delighted at the end of the day, yes. This leaves us with the other side of the coin. Are service providers delighted as well?
It's a very good connected question. See, let's go with the hypothesis that the customers are delighted. Still, there is some set of customer segment is not fully delighted because of the services are not provided to the extent the service providers are promising. But let's take a hypothesis that some set of customers are really delighted. But I don't think the service providers are fully delighted. The fact is that some set of customers are not fully happy, some set of customers are happy, but the service providers are unable to monitor the whole pay-as-you-go model usage. Let's take an example. If I pay $10, where I can get 2 GB of RAM and 100 GB of hard disk for a month with 10,000 CPU cycles. If I start using it, and maybe in 20th day I cross my limits, and I'm delighted because I'm getting the service continue. But as a service provider, he's bleeding. His infrastructure is being placed extra by one of these customers. Though the customer is delighted, end of the month, end of the billing cycle, if you see the overall revenue pattern, some set of customers are not delighted, some set of customers are delighted, but they are using extra than what they're supposed to use. Unless until service providers has the infrastructure, the IT infrastructure in place to balance the whole system, to make the customers who are not happy, making them happy by providing service on time, and the customers who are delighted but using extra, reminding them, saying that you are crossing your limit, usage limit, please make the payment and use it further, which will result in more revenue for the service providers. So unless until this is all streamlined, it is not easy for the service provider to be delighted because he is not profitable. Right? So what I mean to say here is the ecosystem should be robust enough in providing the service to meet the SLA. At the same time, the ecosystem should also support the service provider to hint and alarm at the right time to again remind back to the customer to make payment and then make more and more revenues. If this whole life cycle goes in a very structured way, then both customer is delighted, even the service provider is delighted.
Satish, you were talking about a hypothesis of customer delight and of the delight of service providers. Now, what will make this hypothesis into a reality?
Yeah, see, whatever the hypothesis that we talked about, we need to make sure all these hypotheses is becoming true or fact, and finally the whole system is delighted, right? So to make the whole IaaS realm delighted, right, from customer to service provider, there are so many solution providers trying hard to make the whole system very robust and effective and efficient. We from Sure, making sure that we provide OSS, DSS kind of a solution which can really make the whole ecosystem delighted. Let me start with the life cycle that I explained. When it comes to the customer being delighted, customer is delighted only when he gets the service, when he needs it. So we need to make sure that happens, we need to have a service fulfillment system in place which can talk to the overall virtualization platforms, and then seeking the availability of different VMs, and then whatever the requests coming from the customers, making sure those are allocated, the resources are allocated and customers are using it. The moment I am paying as a customer, if I am using it, I am delighted. So that is possible with the service fulfillment platform. And once the customer is delighted, the second hypothesis we discussed about the service providers being delighted, right? Service providers are definitely delighted when they make their revenue as per their expectation. So when all the virtualization infrastructure is being utilized to a greater extent, to a peak level, they need to make revenues increase. So if they have a pure and a strong BSS or a back office platform which can monitor the whole usage, and if someone is really crossing the limit, reminding them and then making sure the payments are in place again, and then the continued service. Customer is happy only if the service is continued, then put on hold. So right time alarming, right time payment mechanism, and finally generating more and more revenue for the service provider, and the whole system is delighted because service provider is also delighted. So to make the whole system up and running with all the stakeholders being happy, we clearly recommend a robust and strong OSS BSS platform which can really take care of the whole life cycle, more and more automation with very less intervention of human, also very less intervention of various stakeholders in the ecosystem. That will really make the system automated and also all the stakeholders will.
Satish, your answers were truly eye-openers. I've noticed that in every single answer you've introduced a new element, and in your previous one you introduced Sure. What is Sure?
Yeah, I need to provide you the overall evaluation of Sure. Way behind in '97, we started a company called MagnaQuest, and we started working on a simple solution called a subscriber management system. Way behind 16 years, it's all about subscribers and then managing their subscriptions and contracts. Right, simple. That was pretty simple and plain vanilla subscriptions. But as we move on towards 2000, .com burst kind of a time frame, more and more challenges had come up, and then finally these service providers have to come up with very interactive and intelligent way of service bundling. That threw a lot more challenges to the vendors like MagnaQuest, who used to be only in subscription management solutions kind of a thing. So we looked at that market, and then we started developing more and more features like service provisioning, service fulfillment. We also added certain business components like rating, mediation, guidance kind of components, and we used to be fairly strong and good in terms of the pay media industry to start with in 2000 kind of a time frame. But as industry progressed and then started throwing more and more challenges, we took up those challenges and started addressing the challenges by providing various solutions. And in 2003-4 kind of a time frame, you can see a lot of internet requirement. And finally, 2007-8 kind of a time frame, the internet and the initial service bundle started evaluating as cloud. That's what is cloud. Any service which can be provided on internet is cloud as of now. That's the kind of model. So we also evolved with the industry, and then finally started working on different solutions. And now we renamed the whole platform, right from subscriber management system, contract management, billing, rating, guiding, service provisioning, etc. All these we bundled and then created a product suite. And the product suite we named it as Sure, which is an acronym for subscription revolution. And it also gives some kind of an assurance to the customers that sure, we can provide that kind of an assurance. So that is all about Sure, where it talks about the service fulfillment, service provisioning, billing, and post-billing customer support. All this suite for various network elements is Sure.
We started off with a hypothesis and ended with a revolution. I wish you the very best in the subscription space. Thank you for joining the show. Earlier generations of billing were complex, they became obsolete, the return on investment varied widely between companies. In a large number of cases, it was not optimal. The installation did not produce even a minimum level of expected benefits. Besides this, calculation of the ROI itself posed major problems since many of the end results of the monetization platform were difficult to measure and quantify. Sure, billing and monetization platform is intuitive, easier to use, and easier to integrate with third-party systems or other enterprise software. The different modules such as contract management, quotation management, partner management, flexible pricing, and product management, among others, enable the service provider to be flexible and scale up to the market changes which are dynamic in nature. The modules can be added incrementally. Thus, Shaw provides the service provider with enhanced choice, flexibility, and confidence.
Thank
Thank you, Satish Garikipati.